Well, hello and welcome back to the RC barn. Today's probably not going to be a super long video, but I just thought I'd show you what I was working on last couple days, yesterday and most of tonight. Anyways, got the Sportster 90 Twin here. It's going to be powered by a couple of Super Tiger 60 Blueheads. And I've come into a little bit of a problem because while I'm finishing this plane, I did not build this plane. It was kind of built, the fuze was done, the wing was built, and I'm left with the bits to finish it up. So anyhow, what I'm working on today is fitting the nacelles some more. Things that I've already done. This here is your throttle servos here and over here. So I'll be running dual throttle servos. This is just for flaps here. Move my hand out of the way here. And you can see I've got both my flaps hooked up here. I will be making a Y linkage here to connect both of them to the single servo. Not sure I necessarily need them, but I couldn't run full-length ailerons because of the size of the nacelles, how long they are. So I decided to stop them right here. This is where the nacelle will fit. It is right in here, like so. These were basically just firewall, and this one former was glued on, but nothing was attached. I thought the gentleman did a really nice job until I got to the fitment of the nacelles, and that's what brings me to today's video, is how to fit these. So anyways, if I set it straight, like right there, you can see towards the back of here, I got quite the gap. These will get epoxied in after I cover the whole thing. Cover the wing and the nacelles separately, and then I'll glue them in after the fact. So I'll show you what I kind of came up with. I've already experimented with it on, if I can get it kind of, see if I can get the phone set up here. I'll get one of my, where's my block at? Right there. So what, oh, and there goes the nacelle. Let's see how that looks. That don't look too bad right there. I love my flip phone. I can just set it up on an angle. So anyways, what I did on the other side is I took my roundy round thing. My wife thinks that's funny. That's what I call it. And I set the nacelle up right here. And grab my pen and pencil. So what I've done here is set it up, and see with it right here, with it tight here, then I've already checked the incidence on the motor mount, and I'm at a 90, which is 0, which is how I like to do my firewalls. So I come back here, and my servo mount starts here, so that's as far forward as I can go, but that's probably about where I will go. What I did on the other side is I set my protractor, roundy round thing, to the greatest gap that I have, and I bring it in here. I try to get it as tight as I possibly can with the point on there, and I draw a straight line like this. And I do that on the other side. And you'll see why it's important that I stop. Well behind the servo. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. Kind of eyeball where the servo lands in the wing, and that's where I'll stop this on. So anyways, this is what I don't know if you can see this here. This is kind of what I ended up with, and it gives me a shelf. A straight shelf. I thought this might work good, and it did. So the idea behind it, this one's not near as bad. But the idea behind this, and I'll show you the other nacelle what I did, is I created that shelf. Here's the other side. And I glued in a piece of balsa wood across there after I cut that shelf out. And that gives me, I don't know if this will work on this side since it's fit to the right side now. But it took my gap out. It doesn't quite work quite right. So let's bring you over to the other side of the workbench. Get this cut out real quick. And then I'll glue that in, glue that piece of chunk wood in what I have. Set you up right about there. Anyways, when I'm cutting, this is kind of a cross grain cut. So I'll take a couple slices at it. Just take my time, go nice and slow, stay right on the edge of that. You could, in theory, leave a little extra and then sand to your line like I showed before. When I'm using the X-Acto knife, I don't find that quite as necessary. I just take, seeing I'm already through some of it. Cutting cross grain like this, the knife tends to wander just a little bit, so you got to watch that so you get a nice straight cut. I'll end up sanding this one anyways a little bit flat. Too close. There we go. So basically the idea is instead of trying to cut a sliver of a piece to fit the gap that I had and glue it onto the, I do believe this is 3/32, yeah. Instead of trying to glue a 3/32 sliver in here, is to make the gap bigger but square. And then from a cross grain cut, I'll take my stone saw, cut that at a 90. Do the same to the other side. That looks good. Just kind of a little guesswork here. There we go. And I got a piece of wood. This is what I sheeted the other side with. And I like to do cross grain because it's as strong as you can. It's the strongest way you can do top and bottom sheeting is cross grain. So it'll eliminate a lot of this play that I got in there. See how I can squeeze that? I can't do a lot of twisting, which is good. So I'll take this piece here. I'll kind of line it up like so. Now I'm going to go trial fit this on the plane real quick. Make sure I'm not going to get into my servo. But it'll also, the other positive to this is it'll give me a nice place to lay down some nice epoxy in there. And I know my nacelle will not fall off in flight, which would be a good thing. Now I need my pencil, so always on the other side of the work table. I'm also planning on building a new workbench over there where the bandsaw's at. I would like to get my sander and I'd like to get my sander and my bandsaw and all that in one central location. And so I got room over there. I'm gonna have to move some stuff around. But anyways, the future video coming up will be probably me building a new work table, and I got a new idea for that too that I haven't done before. That is taking and basically making several boxes. I know there's a name for that. I can't think of it, what it's actually called. But something strong and something that's going to stay flat that I can call a new workbench. I need something at least 6 feet long, because the project I got going's got at least that for a wingspan. The other thing I do is when I'm sheeting is I'll take and mark where my sheet ends. Sometimes where it begins and where it ends. And that way I know where to stop my glue joint at. So I've got some, this is medium. Got this from Dad's Toy Shop in Wappa, Ohio. Nice group of guys. There's just a nice little bead there. Nice little bead there. This is a little big. I'll have to seam to fit. Hold it for air for a few seconds. And I'll move on to the next piece. Like I said, I'm not really cutting a radius in here, even though it has a bit of a curve to it. The sides have a bit of a curve to it. I'm more just rough cutting it. I'm leaving, you can see over here, I'm leaving quite a bit of material there to sand off. Let's get in close here. Do a test fit. That looks nice. Lay down some glue. I tell you what though, twins are addicting. This will be, I got one sitting up there that I built a couple, 2, 3 years ago I finished, and got this thing going on. I got a B25 here that needs to be restored, and I also got a Duelist 240 sitting over there that I've flown quite a bit, and it also needs some attention given to it. Made some changes that I don't really like. And I already got a couple motors picked out for it, so I got some twins coming. What do guys say that twins don't last long? I don't know what that's about. I haven't crashed one. Just you can see how much material I left there. I do not have to radius this. I just got to make it flush. I'm rough sanding this with, excuse me, kind of worn out. This is probably 60 grit. Oh, that's all right. Alright, let's go over and see how that don't look too bad. That really stiffened this thing up. There's not going to be anything going on back here. Just an empty spot in the nacelle. See if I can grab my phone here one-handed without shutting it off. Wife's ready to bring her Christmas decorations back outside. Did you guys have a good, happy holidays? I know I did. Probably do quite a bit in these how-to videos. There's a lot of stuff I could cover. Building techniques that have been lost. And now look at that. Well, that fits nice. And that'll keep my flat nice and centered there. Because it only goes down. And there we go. Tearing one down a little bit. Don't matter. It's just test fit right now. So there we go. And I already have made hatches for this. You see what I did here. I just cut these pieces out here. And then I sheeted some 1/2 inch over the top, and I think this is 3/8 that I started with. And I just rounded it off. That's the front. I think it's, on these twins, it's paramount that you be able to get to the fuel tanks on a regular basis, because I don't know my experience with them. And here's the top. Because of the way the guy built this, I had to put that little filler piece in there. And I sanded that down. I think it looks pretty nice. Anyways, what I was saying is I think it's paramount that on twins that you be able to get to the fuel tank. Because on twins I've had before, well, doesn't that look nice? I got to sheet the bottom yet. And that'll run into the wing, so I'll have to sand the saddle into it a little bit. That'll get glued in place. But with the weird vibrations that a twin gets, you really need to be able to get to access the fuel tanks, because I've noticed, like on the tanks on the front nose piece, that it likes to loosen up over time. And I'm not talking years, I'm talking flights. Like, you know, in my, here's my current twin. I'm sure I'll get some video of this up this summer. That is a SIG something extra twin. Most of it scratch built by me. I started with a kit and or a plane, that was needing restored, and a lot of it was bad. It's got a couple of S46AXs in it. So I ended up buying a fuse kit, scratch building the other one. The only thing original of the plane anymore is the one outboard wings. I scratch built the center section. I scratch built the tail. I copied the laser cut fuse kit from SIG to make my other one. The only big real modifications I made to the plane is I sheeted the turtle deck on the back, and I made hatches for the front so I could get to the fuel tanks. You can see that right there. Just a little screw to hold the front end in. So anyways, I probably tighten them screws up on them fuel tanks, every half dozen to a dozen flights. I don't know why it's like that, but it's just the way it is. Maintenance on its one's huge also. If you notice that there's anything going wrong with your engines, like one's harder to start than the other, if one is smoking more than the other, one's losing some performance, change the motors. You got to have reliability with a twin, because while I've had an engine out on that something extra, it was really not an issue. You don't fly long and you don't turn into the dead engine. I did that with my Duelist one time. I thought I lost it, but I was thank God it was high enough I recovered the death spiral and see when I turned into the dead engine. But yeah, I mean, and the biggest thing that people forget with the twin is, especially nitro powered, electric I think is the easy way out. I'm not much of an electric guy, so I like my nitro engines like the old school of that. And but the biggest thing is the mechanical linkages on throttle servos. I mean, you gotta have those engines so they're synced up, especially on like a plane like this where it's gonna be a tail dragger. You don't want one coming alive faster than the other. So the biggest thing is get your engines set up correctly. You want to run them to where they're running and they're reliable at idle and at full throttle. And then from there, you want to get your tachometer out, and you want to set your linkages so that way from idle to half throttle and at half throttle, I do half, 3/4, and full, and make sure that they're pretty close to one another. That one's not coming up slower than the other. Throttle responses are kind of the same. It's not more peak, like you want to match the RPM. I haven't had to do that a whole lot. I don't know, it's something extra. I think the one engine's newer than the other, and the new engine definitely has a few RPM more than the older one. But that really doesn't affect flight performance. That thing flies amazing. It's fun to fly. It's tracks on rails. At knife edge is great. It does the aerobatics like nothing like a something extra has ever done. I don't know why, and it just looks neat in the air. It's just a cool plane to fly. It always gets a lot of likes at the fun fly events that I go to. Heck, I've even flown that thing at a scale contest before because guys just could not wait till the free fly on the next day to see it fly. So I was up there flying with Mustangs and Spitfires and jets and turbines, and he's just having a ball with it. Anyhow, onto the twin anyways. This thing, that'll probably be it for tonight's video. We're running into about 30 minutes. So anyways, I hope this tip helps you in the future. You could do this with wing saddles. You could do this with pretty much any surface that you're going to be gluing on. I mean, the biggest thing to watch for is make sure you got an incidence meter, or you got some way to level the plane to make sure that the cuts you're making are level, because you want to do this once to fix an oops like this. So anyways, hope that helped you guys out. I'll have more how-tos in the future. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and I mean, geez, I got comments turned on, but there you are. Nobody's commenting on my videos, just getting a few views. So anyways, if you guys got any questions, feel free to ask, and we will talk to you next time.